Hi, it's Kayla from Kayla's Corner, and I am hiding from the sun, or trying to. So I'm scooched down here, actually behind my car. So when I got here, I'm in Galveston, Texas. When I got here, the temperatures were like 85 degrees. It was comfortable, wasn't bad at all. Yesterday, at least in my car, it read 104. So it's time to move on. But I want to go over some things because I haven't filmed. If you haven't been following me, I've been traveling through South Texas, going town to town along the Gulf, exploring small towns to inspire folks to come out and see something different. You don't have to vacation in a big city. There's a lot of entertainment and beauty and things to do and see along the coast. Lots and lots of small towns. So the last time I spoke to you, I filmed and I think it was Port Lavaca, and I talked about Port O'Connor, Port Lavaca, and I think that was it. So those are both. Port O'Connor I fell in love with. I just did. I didn't fall in love with the mosquitoes. That place is just infested. The beach is really far from where you park, and you have to go through grass, and it was brutal. It was just brutal. So I did find a place called Froggy's. It was a bait shop. It had a dock, and there were no mosquitoes there, and it was really cool. I got to meet a lot of people, see a lot of boats. I got close-ups of dolphins coming in to feed on the fish. Folks were cleaning their catch of the day, so that was a really cool town. So if you have mosquitoes that don't care for you, that's a good place to visit. For me, it was not so good. Then I went on to Port Lavaca. There's beaches there. There's a little town beach. It's similar to the other towns, except that there's not so many stilt houses. It's got to be higher elevation, I guess, because they have a lot of normal-looking homes throughout Port Lavaca, maybe a little bigger. Then I went on to Port Comfort. Now, all these towns are like right on top of each other. It takes just a few minutes to get from one to the other. Port Comfort has all the big plants. So if you live in Port Lavaca, Port Comfort, Palacios, even Freeport, there's a lot of industry there. There's the Formosa plant is right there, the Alcoa plant. And when I say plant, these things are massive. And I've taken pictures and put them on Facebook. And by the way, a little aside here, I'm in Facebook jail again. I'm just gonna make a quick statement about this. If somebody posts something you don't like and you don't want to deal with it, just block them. Seriously, just block them. Because Facebook, if you complain, it seems I'm out for 7 days. It was not even a political statement. I actually just told somebody I'm not interested in speaking with them or communicating with them. I said, it's too freaky. I used the word freaky for me. And I got blocked for 7 days. Okay, I'm just saying. I've been in Facebook jail before, but it seems to be that it doesn't take much to get there anymore. So it's just crazy. Moving on. I will post the pictures when I'm allowed to. So, so there's a lot of industry, a lot of work. If you should fall in love with a coastal town and want to live there, there's definitely employment. From Port Comfort, well, like I say, these are massive. These take up miles. The Formosa plant just takes up miles. So does the Exxon. Down from there, you go to Palacios, then Bay City. Now, Bay City is where I lived when I worked at the nuke plant, South Texas Project. So it was kind of fun to go and see the apartment that I lived in. It's still there, except they've built more apartments around it. Bay City had 8,000 people. When I lived there, there's 17,000 now. Also, there's noise behind me. Also, Matagorda was just a short drive from Bay City, where a couple of people who worked at the plant also lived. And I went down there to try to check it out. These condos were right on the water. It used to be you could just drive in. You can't anymore. It's a gated community, and they've built tons of condos around that area too. Same with the plant. You used to be able to drive into STP. We used to drive up onto the reservoir to see the alligators. Can't do that anymore either. Of course, that's all secured now. But it was really fun just driving around and remembering that. I always say there's 2 times in my life if I could be frozen in time. One was when I was working in South Texas at the new plant. The other one was when I was at the U of A in college. If I could be frozen either one of those 2 places for the rest of my life, it was just too much fun. So that was interesting. And then I moved on, went over to Freeport, another small town. There's lakes and beaches there, of course. There's Mammoth Lake. It's getting busy here. It was quiet a little bit ago, but the traffic's picking up. It's Sunday, so it's free parking along the beach on Sundays. So there's going to be a lot more people here in a minute. So let's see, Freeport, Texas. Okay, so from Rockport, so remember Rockport, which I loved, which I was there for like a month. Then over to Port O'Connor, Port Lavaca, Port Comfort, Palacios, Bay City, and Freeport. Those are all just beach towns where people live, people boat, and people work. Then went past Freeport, you'll hit Surfside Beach. Now we start getting into the resort towns. So pretty. The architecture's really pretty, really high. I call them stick houses. Really high homes, beautiful. Surfside Beach then rolls right into, you just keep driving on the same street, rolls right into San Luis Beach. Now that has hot springs, has the dunes. There's a lot to do. It's just that those 2 places are just recreational areas. Then to go over to Galveston, you go over the bridge, and you pay $2, I think it was, to come over to Galveston. And then you see just the miles and miles of beach in Galveston. So very pretty. Now, there's a lot to do, so I'm just gonna go through a few things. It's so hot here. Like I said, it was 85 when I got here, like a little over a week ago. Really comfortable. Every day was awesome. Yesterday, actually the day before, it started to get really hot. In my car read 104. So it's like, okay, we're moving on. So in Galveston, let me just say, of course, this is a resort town, and it's really not expensive. I used to think it was back in the day, but they've built so many more places to stay, so many more restaurants. So you can stay there's a Victoria hotel, it's called, to a Super 8, everything you can imagine, every price range you can imagine. So it's easy to find a place to stay. There is no camping on the beaches in Galveston. That's the only difference from the other beaches. Pretty much you could camp and nobody bothers you. In Galveston, you cannot camp on the beach. Well, like I said, that's fine because there's tons of hotels, tons of restaurants, tons of shops. You won't want for anything, all in your price range, whatever that may be. So let me just go through a couple of things, because this is a good vacation spot. It's not exactly a small town, but it's not a really big town either. So going into it, the first place I stopped was Pier 21. So that is just, all these piers are basically fishing piers. Pier 21, Pier 61. Pier 61 was interesting. To go upstairs onto the balcony, you had to pay $2, or you could buy something and you could go up there. There's nothing up there, but you get a view from a second story, and that was $2. By the way, I did buy something there. Just as a side note, I bought a beach dress, which was very colorful, a lot of red in it. When I did the laundry, this is what I get for buying a cheap beach dress at a cheap beach shop. It bled, so I have a lot of white things that are now pink. So that was interesting. So, so there's the piers. There's Murdoch's. I went on the duck tour. That was fun. It was short. You went and did. There's not much to tour really. You went around and toured between the beach, which you're looking at behind me. From let's say 19th Street. From the beach on 19th Street, all the way across the island to where the cruise ships come in, the Strand and all that. It's literally 1 mile. I mean, it just the island comes to a point at the end, and everything is kind of in the end part. There's other things as you cross over the San Luis Pass. There's a great restaurant called the Tipsy Turtle, and there's a beach right there, a free beach, and they've got showers and stuff. So there's stuff to do all along the beaches. That's what is so great about this. There's just miles of entertainment here. So I did that when it first started. Literally, the duck tour just pulled out, and it started to pour. Not rain, I mean pour. So I tried to protect my camera, and I thought I was filming when I wasn't, and vice versa, and I kind of made a mess of things for a few minutes. I'm going to try to learn how to edit that out, but got a little bit messed up. So I'm going to post that when I'm allowed. And let's see, just so you know, if you come here, things to do. So there is a Stewart Beach. This is the only paid beach. The claim to fame is that you can drive on the beach. Actually, you can't. What they're calling a beach is a sandy parking lot. You still have to walk the same distance. In fact, I do believe it's further. So right behind me is the beach, a few feet. If you go to Stewart Beach, it's a bit of a walk from the sandy parking lot. But they have restaurants right there. They have showers. They have concession stands. So they have kind of a little community in there. So, I mean, it's fine. Also, they have a bucket bridge tours. So when the lifeguards are on duty, they can take you walk on the beach and point out different kinds of shells, different crabs. The crabs are running around all the time. Different fish. So it's just a little tour, just a little educational thing. So that's different too, that you won't find along the rest of the beaches. So there's also museums. One is closed that we did go to before. It's called the Ashton Villa, but the owner of it now has decided not to let people tour the home. It's a historic home, but it's closed up permanently. So that only happened 3 months ago because there were reviews on it just 3 months ago, and now it's closed. The Bishop's Palace, that's beautiful, except the 3rd floor is being restored. So you can't see all of that. Actually, on Saturdays, I think you can pay extra. It's like $35 as compared to $8 or $10 to see the 3rd floor. There is, of course, the Moody Gardens. Now, this is a family-friendly event. There's hotels and restaurants and activities. It is $60 to get in that. That's a full-day event. So you would spend the day. They've got a rainforest pyramid there. I think that's included in the $60. They have something like 1,700 different plants and animal lives that they show you. There also is a Moody Mansion. I did not take that one. It looked interesting, but I don't know. I didn't go on that one. But anyway, that's another choice you have. And then, let's see. Of course, like I said, across from the beaches, 1 mile on the opposite side is the Strand. And that's full of shops. Since, people walk the Strand. Shops, restaurants, all that. Also, the cruise ships are on that side. So the Carnival Breeze was over there. I think the Inspiration Royal Caribbean, I believe that was there. So the cruise ships are moving. Looks like they're, in flight again. I am so ready for a cruise, I cannot tell you. So I'm not sure exactly what their itineraries are or where they're going, but they are coming in and out of port. So there's some activity there. Also over on that side, let's see here. How can I tell you? So back on the beach side, there's a 61st Pier. That's why I bought the dress for $15. Gee, I'm surprised it ran. But it is open 24 hours a day because they fish on that pier. And the fishing, I think, costs like $35 or something. But it is 24/7. And when I was there, they were having a shark tournament, which is really funny because just on the other side, like feet away, is where the swimmers were. So, you know, there's shark in there. There's the eels are in there, not the eels, the jellyfish are in there, sharks are in there, the rays are in there. There's all kinds of stuff in there. So I tend to not really go in the water as much as hang out around the water. Let's see, when you come here, what else can I tell you? The stuff written down because. So there's something called the East End Historical District. Those are the older homes, big, beautiful homes. That's around 19th Street to 23rd Street. So that's interesting. I did tour the Ocean Star Drilling Museum. That was super interesting. That is the only drilling museum in America. Actually, I had to go back. It's funny, I had to go back a second day because the day before, they were closed because the night before that we had a really big electrical storm and it knocked something out. So it was closed because of that, which I'm sure they get lots of electrical storms here, but I guess that was a pretty big one. But I found that really interesting. There's 3 floors, plus you can go outside and just see it's an original rig, and it's just massive. And just to see, there's videos on what people had to go through to build these things. It's really interesting. It's really enlightening. So if you're here, I wouldn't miss it. It's just it's a self-tour. It's a little building behind the restaurant section, over behind the Strand there, next to the cruise ships. You'd miss it if you didn't know it was there. But it's definitely worth it. A little white building, buy a ticket, and then go out there. It's really, really worth it. Now, I didn't go, but there's other things to do. There's a railroad museum. There's a naval museum. They've got 2 historic ships, the USS Cavalla and the USS Stewart. And also, this is interesting, there's the Kettle House. Now, I happen to see the Kettle House being restored on one of those do-it-yourself programs, HDTV, or whatever. So I did see that being built in the process. And so I was interested in seeing it up close and personal. Now, the funny thing is it's a 2-bedroom. It's just 2-bedroom. I think it only has 1 bath. No, I'm not sure. But it's 2 bedrooms. Those 2 bedrooms have 3 beds. The price to rent that is $306 a night. It's not on the beach. In fact, it's on the highway in a lot of grass. So I don't know how the mosquitoes are in that. But I guess if you don't like the beach, if you don't want the salt, it's fine. But I personally think for that money, I mean, except to say that you stayed at the Kettle House, which is fine. But for that money, you can get a place right across from the beach and sit on your deck and just look over the Gulf. So, I mean, everybody's different, wants different things, but that's the story on the Kettle House. So, let's see, what else? I think that's pretty much it. That kind of catches you up. Now, I am leaving because I'm starting to have a meltdown. A little change of plans. I am going over to Alabama to the Gulf Shores in Orange Beach. And then I was going to do the whole perimeter of Florida, but I stayed too long in some of these places. I actually had planned on being through that area by now. And we're getting into, besides the fact that it's getting hotter and more humid, you know, we're looking at hurricane season coming up upon me. And Oh, what did I do here? Am I still rolling, I hope? Ah, it fell over. Oh my goodness. Sorry about that. So, what was I saying? Yeah, so it's getting really hot and really humid and really sticky. So I'm going over to Alabama, and then I'm heading north to hopefully cooler temperatures, or at least drier temperatures. And maybe we'll come back down after the hurricane season and see what happens. Actually, I'm surprised there's been no activity to speak of, except for I think there was a tropical a few weeks ago, but it's been pretty calm. But still, it is, like I say, it's a 10-degree difference already, and it's not August yet. So I'm going to go ahead and move on. But if you haven't been following me, you can go ahead and like, subscribe, and follow me. I'm trying to hit the small towns to kind of give you an idea of what's available, besides, you know, the big cities that maybe cost a lot, or you just don't want to deal with the traffic, or just you didn't know about these small towns. And so if your next summer vacation, you might want to put them on your list to visit. So go ahead, like, subscribe, and follow me, and hopefully I'll find some more interesting towns for you and give you enough information so that if you do want to visit them, you'll have kind of something to go on. All right, thanks.